Frederick Van Johnson is a photographer, yes. But like so many creative people, he is multi-talented and multi-passionate. He is also the creator and host of an incredibly successful online show called This Week in Photo, or TWIP to its fans. He's a marketing strategist, a savvy businessman, is super successful in the highly competitive photography industry, is my friend, and one of the nicest and coolest people on the planet. But did you know that photography began for him in the military? That magic saved his shy little kid self and set the tone for the rest of his life? Or that he's about to create the legacy of a lifetime, and he announces it here for the very first time. I've been waiting for this one, and I am proud to present the one and only Frederick Van Johnson.
Hey everybody, it's Karen Hutton and the Chat with Karen Hutton. Sound bite-sized insights from some of the coolest people on the planet.
Like me?
Like Frederick Van Johnson. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Hi.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, you're really nervous.
I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
You see the sweat right there?
Yeah, right. No, I don't.
I'm not used to being in front of the camera.
You're cool as a cucumber.
No.
As you always are.
Cucumber in boiling water.
Wow, that just really derailed my whole train of thought, mister.
All right, I'm going to be good. I promised I would be good.
No.
I'm going to be good.
So, Fred, so not a lot of people know a lot about your background. Like, I dug around the internet a little bit, and I'm like, really, you're kind of like the masked man out there.
I've been around.
However, I know because, well, frankly, you told me, you have this whole corporate photography industry past and marketing that I find fascinating.
I started my career, I want to say, in the military. And that's where I kind of cut my teeth on loving cameras and light and all that stuff. I was like, okay, this is magic. I love this. I want to do this forever. Then when I got out of the military, came here to Silicon Valley, and I kind of, when I was getting out, like people in the military know this, when you're about to get out, you got to like, okay, I got to find a civilian job. What is it going to be? I got to retool myself to make myself attractive to civilian employer. So
I'm going to use that line, retool myself to make myself more attractive.
We do it every day. That's
a take home, folks.
Yes,
okay, carry on. I love that.
Brush your teeth, all that's retooling yourself to make yourself more attractive.
Yeah.
So I left the military down there and retooled myself into a graphic designer, web designer. Right? Because I was already doing that stuff in the military anyway, along with photography. So I retooled it, came up here. And the military is a black box anyway. Like, civilians don't know what you're doing in there. I could have said I was doing brain surgery and,
Right.
But I came up and took a job with the San Jose Mercury News as the web designer. So my thing was, while I was sitting there, I was watching all these news articles fly by about all the cool things that those companies were doing.
Yeah.
And here I am at a company that's sole mission is to report on the cool things that people are
Not
doing.
actually play.
Yeah, it's like, I want to be in the race. I don't want to be on the sidelines reporting on the race. So I went and joined Yahoo. And there you go.
I was actually
Yahoo Finance Vision.
Yahoo Finance Vision. I was the talent coach.
And I was talent on Yahoo Finance Vision.
Yes, we never met. It's kind of weird.
So Yahoo to Apple to I went and joined a startup down in Southern California, then came back to Adobe. I learned that, I love photography. I love the creative stuff. But another part of me loves marketing and the whole science and the psychology behind marketing and convincing people that your product is worth them pulling out the credit card for. Just that piece of it. It's just like really interesting, like the psychological triggers and buttons that you can push to make people do certain things and make them.
It's so interesting.
It's so crazy. And then you merge all that together with photography. So of course my brain is like, okay, you like marketing, you like photography. How do you get the peanut butter into the chocolate here? You know? And that's kind of what the hybrid of Frederick Van Johnson is.
Is that because you do photography, but then you also have, what's the name of your marketing business?
Mediabytes.
Mediabytes. So what would be like the three top, like, do you have 3 tips, easy ones for photographers looking to market themselves better?
Sure. I mean, that's a really good question, and I'll tell you because you're good at really good questions. I mean, I say that. People always say, that's a really good question. It's like, of course, I asked it. Of course. But, one of them is, one message I would give to my corporate brothers out there that are still in corporations. A lot of people tend to identify themselves with the brand that they're working for and intrinsically tie their name to that brand. Which is okay, like when you're there. So, hey, I'm John Doe, and I'm the photography guy at XYZ Corp, which is awesome because XYZ Corp is huge. Problem for you is if XYZ Corp decides that they don't want you anymore,
then
your brand deflates like a balloon, right? And usually companies like, some of the companies I've worked for, they'll have these policies in place where you can't blog, you can't tweet, or, if you want to run a blog, you got to get it approved, all this stuff. And that serves to diminish you as a brand, right? I had a conversation with a friend of mine at Peach Pit Press the other day. He was talking about a photographer. Actually, I don't think he's a photographer, but he's a engineer at one of these large companies that he rejected a perfectly viable book offer or a book proposal from this person. And this person is a pedigree. I mean, he worked with some of the top names of Silicon Valley, but he said he rejected it because he has no platform.
Oh, wow.
He has no followers. He has no Twitter. He has no Google Plus.
Really?
So they rejected the book because this person had no platform. So my thinking was, okay, that's huge because this person that we're talking about, exponentially smarter than me, but I could probably get a book pushed through with very little effort, as you could, because you have a large following.
Right.
It's gold these days to have that, and you lose that if you tie your brand intrinsically to a large company. So that'd be one tip. Try to build your own brand. Second tip, build an email list. Third tip, get on social media and be active on social media.
Right, and develop a following and do those things. Those are really, really good. Yeah. And then, and go from there. Yeah. So, okay, another thing that I know about you that a lot of people don't know is that this is a little diversion.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh. You do magic.
I do. I have powers.
Powers? Tell us about
Some
your
people
powers.
will believe that. I do not have real powers. I'm not Chris Angel.
But you did magic when you were a kid, and you still love doing it now, and it's totally fascinating to you. What?
When I was a kid, I was a really, really debilitatingly shy kid, And as it turns out, shy kids gravitate towards doing magic for some reason.
Isn't that crazy?
This just blew me away. Like, how do you do that? You don't have any other props, just a coin, and you make it do all this crazy stuff, So I wanted to learn how to do it. And I think part of me thought it was real because I was a kid, right? I was like, okay, I need those powers. I'm gonna go and find out how to get those powers, and I'm gonna get them.
I need those powers.
But then, diving deeper, you figure out that it's all an illusion. Sleight of hand.
It kind of ties though into marketing and having your own business and dealing with people and kind of doing what you do now, which is kind of weave. Do a lot with a little.
Manipulate.
I wasn't going to use that word. God.
Manipulate light, manipulate, coins, and manipulate people's minds with marketing. Yes,
it's all the same.
It's all the same.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you still do it now.
I'm not going to do one for you. I'm not going to levitate right now.
Yeah.
I do it.
You did it earlier.
For kids, I do it from time to time.
Aww,
yeah,
that's so cool.
You're like, oh my god,
that's so awesome.
Yeah. But then I feel bad and disingenuous, like. I'm tricking you and I'm making you think that I have powers when I really don't have powers.
No, but, they can. You never know when you might run across one just like yourself who goes, oh, I could do that. And then
it happens all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So you've taken everything you've ever done that you love and you've woven it together into this stunningly successful lifestyle to the point where you're like, wow, I'm traveling an awful lot. Wow, maybe I want to cut back here. And you're kind of like on the verge of wanting to reshape it even. Yeah. How did that happen? Did you, what was the inroad? How did you market yourself? How did you make those connections? How did all that happen in such a way that maybe someone could learn something from?
I think, it's hard. Anybody that tells you that, it was easy or it was overnight, whatever. And I don't consider myself a success by any means yet. I have a lot that I need to get done. But I look at this stuff as if you try to do the right thing normally and try to always have fun and always be learning something new. At least for me, like with photography, there's always something new to learn, something new to try. I see Karen Hutton's work. I'm like, oh man, one day I want to try. You see this stuff all the time and you get inspired. And I'm always learning that muscle is always being exercised. And, with the marketing stuff, it's, I think, so part of me is, part of the way that my brain works is if I'm doing something where I feel like I'm being challenged and moving in the right general direction, then good things tend to happen. Right. Like the podcast. We started This Week in Photo, and it wasn't like, okay, we're going to build this and we're going to get to this level and then we're going to have this and we're going to monetize it with advertisers. It was nothing like that. It was like, hey, we like talking about photography. Let's build a little show. It's cheap to do it. Let's do it. And we kept doing it over and over, and then it grew and grew. And by virtue of, you know, whatever that process is, that when things get bigger, they start getting their own gravity. It got bigger, started getting its own gravity and pulling in advertising.
Which is a different kind of a reverse on do what you love and like the money will follow or what have you. But the same idea, if you don't do what you love and do it over and over again and create its own gravitational pull, that could suck.
Yeah. If you do what you don't want to do, you're going to pull in that gravity. That gravity will pull in things too.
And I mean, that sounds like duh, but really a lot of people are doing what they don't like, putting a lot of energy into it, thinking something's going to change. Yeah. And that's really not probably ever going to happen.
I'm not a big fan of the regret feeling, you know?
Ooh,
like,
me neither.
I'm like, you know, I want to be that old guy sitting on the porch going, hey, in my day, I could have gone to New Zealand, and I didn't, but I could have.
And you're going to New Zealand!
I am going to New Zealand.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm excited.
Okay, that's a whole other sidebar.
Yes.
So, photography, what do you love most about photography? What type of photography? What do you love most about it? Like, where does it kind of live in your soul?
Two pieces of it. I love interacting with people. Back to the marketing thing, I guess. I love interacting with people, so I love people photography. I love taking pictures. I love models and shooting models, specifically because, like, when you shoot, for me, of course, pretty girls, right? But when you shoot models, it's fun to give them the image when it's over, like when you're done, and then they see it and they're like, oh, you know, because they're never going to look like that ever again. Even the next day, they'll be different, you know.
Even if you tried to.
But you, like, over time, you're giving them something that they will treasure forever.
Right.
And if it's people photography, same thing. You're just doing portraits. It's different. Like landscapes, I admire landscape photographers and people that do that kind of stuff. I can't do it to that degree, so I'm intimidated. And my stumbling block is, like, we were talking earlier off camera about the Golden Gate Bridge. And I go to the Golden Gate Bridge a fair amount, and I look at it, and I get slightly photographically depressed. Because I'm like,
I do too, actually.
How many different ways has this bridge been photographed?
I know.
There's no way I could take a shot that's different, you know. Even if I got in a helicopter, you know, there's no way I could get a shot that's different.
Well, you might if you got in a helicopter.
Maybe, but still, I mean, if you draw a bubble around that thing, there'd be dots from every conceivable direction aiming at the bridge. You know? So, you know, but with a person, I feel like the sky's the limit, because they're always different. They're never going to look like that day again. They're going to be in a different mood.
That's true.
The light's different, everything. Plus, then you bring them into the computer and you're retouching or whatever. So that's one half of it. The other half of stuff that I love is pixel pushing and manipulation.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
I do too.
Yeah, I just love that kind of. A lot of people don't get it. A lot of people just think like, okay, these awesome photographers out there, they shoot this thing and it was like that in the camera.
Right.
When there's a lot of work that goes into post to make it look the way that the photographer wanted
That's
to.
if you are approaching it like art. You know, some people are like, oh, it's photoshopped. And I'm like, well, what? So, like, you look at a Van Gogh, oh, it was painted.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, that's good, huh?
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, so TWIP.
Yes.
We have to spend some time on TWIP.
Sure.
Boy, if you haven't seen This Week in Photo, you've got to go and check it out, because this man is a master at the interview, at breaking down technology so that you can understand it, at being on top of the latest and greatest. He's peerless as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
Yeah, you take the cake. I do. So
Thank
you can rely on my knowledge. So TWIP is incredibly successful, and a lot has come out of it. It's free content that has generated a lot for your business.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really great tip for people who are looking for tips for their business, is the free content done in such a way that it sort of steers people toward wanting to pay you for that thing that you do is beyond price, beyond measure.
Yep.
So you've done that, and that's happening, and that's great. And so what next? Where do you see this going?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great question. And I've been thinking about this for the last several years. Once TWIP got on the path of, okay, this is actually a real thing now, and it sort of broke from, okay, it's just a hobby that I'll do if I feel like it, to, okay, we're going to do this thing every week religiously, rain or shine, So it became a business, especially with the advertisers and all that stuff coming in, and we're starting to do live events now and all that. So I think the natural evolution for TWIP is into more of a network rather than just a single show. Now, and I look at Leo Laporte in This Week in Tech as like Mount Olympus,
Yeah.
right? We are a pebble on the sand of the beach, and Leo is Zeus up there. But looking at that model where he's built out this fantastic network of technology shows that people in the audience continues to grow and grow, my brain is thinking, what if I looked at him as guidance and did a photography lineup of shows where This Week in Photo obviously is the headlining show, but then there's landscape and HDR, which is landscape too, portraits, macro, weddings, all that stuff, and have different breakdowns of different shows within there, each with its own host.
So what you're saying is you and I will be talking soon.
Yes. You see, this is my recruitment technique.
Part of the recruitment video.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I heard you kind of like just barely touching on that idea the last time we talked, which was a while back, and that is very.
It could be huge
exciting.
if executed correctly. It could be huge. Now I don't want to build it, at least not right now. I don't want to build it out with physical brick and mortar, real estate like Leo has. All that. I want to keep it online, more like what Trey Ratcliffe.
Right.
It's in the cloud. Everything is in the cloud. Hosts do it from their own home, that kind of thing. So that I feel like that's a little bit more scalable for me. But then the cool thing, business-wise, when you look at it, if TWIP kind of goes sideways and becomes a network, then each one of those verticals underneath TWIP is its own property that we can then sell advertising into if we need to. Then advertisers that just want to reach wedding photographers can buy into that show.
That's very
Not
cool.
to mention monetizing with training and ebooks and all that stuff on a vertical basis.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Wow. This
We're
is
working
quite
on
a
it.
year. This is just a really big year for a lot of people.
It's crazy.
New
I'm not a fan
ideas.
of the 13s, but 14s are awesome.
Yeah, 14 is I'm with that program too. So final question.
Sure.
You asked me once before in a previous interview that you and I did what my end game is. I'm going to return the favor and ask you, what's your end game?
Oh, yeah. So
In your own terms, your own
as opposed to
definition.
yours.
Exactly. Your own because everything's about
This
me.
is going to come through you and back to me.
My God. In your terms, your end game, yeah.
Well, I mean, I could say it's to do the right thing. Always do the right thing and add to the sum total of humanity and GNP of the world. Right? High level. At just like a more real level, it is to... The end game is to survive, of course. Survive and thrive.
Well, I mean, beyond
pay
that.
for the house and eat. That kind of thing. Those things. And buy some gear every now and then. But what I would really like to do, especially as I think through what This Week in Photo will evolve into, is I would like to build something that I can then hand off. Like when I check out and I'm ashes to ashes, dust to dust, I want this thing to live on and that people that are behind me can take over and run with it and then remember that, Frederick was the guy that started this and now look at it. We are a skyscraper in New York City, that kind of thing. That's what I would like to see. That would be the legacy that I leave behind, aside from the creative works that I do, obviously. But business-wise, I would like to leave a nugget that, because I think about it, I know we're over time a little bit, I think about this a lot, and I think about it from the standpoint of, and this may be a little controversial, in the African American community, we have this thing, and everyone knows it, most people in the African American community know this, where it's almost like an every man for himself kind of mentality, where some other races and nationalities help each other. Like you'll say, hey, my dad set this trust fund, and so when I get to this level, I'm going to get that money and I can go forward higher, that kind of thing. We don't generally do a whole lot of that, and I want to, at least from my little standpoint, shift that a little bit so that I'm leaving something and that people behind me can say, oh, wow, look at what, we wouldn't have been able to do any of this stuff without Frederick.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of the end game, for me. Not just like buying new cameras and all that, but to leave something substantive for the next generation so that they can stand on my shoulders and do something way beyond what I ever conceived of.
Wow. That is freaking amazing.
That's where I want to go.
Man. Just
That's
love
what I
him.
want to do.
Okay.
But I still want to buy toys too, right?
Well, of course. You want a well-rounded life.
Yes.
You don't just, you're not just going to be on a mission. Final random questions.
Sure.
This is our short format, rapid fire, just bim, bam, boom.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay. Pet peeve.
Stupid people.
Favorite sound.
Oh, favorite sound of my girlfriend's voice.
I love that. Oh my God. You and Scott Kelby have a lot in common.
Oh, did he say that?
He doesn't have a girlfriend. He has a wife.
He has a wife.
That's his favorite. Yeah.
It is.
It is.
You
know, that's fantastic. Okay, final question.
Yes.
Favorite word.
Oh man, favorite word. Pixel.
That pretty much brings us full circle and to the point. Pixel point.
Pixel point. Yeah, because it's the smallest point. I mean, you could go subpixel. The geeks out there will say, but pixel is the smallest point of what we do these days.
Yeah.
Right. It is the atom. It is the electron of all the stuff that we put together.
And this guy is so detail-oriented and so organized and so neat. That makes perfect sense to me. Frederick Van Johnson, you are the bomb.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you so much for doing this. I
You're
love
welcome.
you guys too. Thank you for watching. And come back for the next one. It'll be fantastic. And we'll see you soon. Bye.